Those who make peaceful revolution impossible makes violent revolution inevitable. John F. Kennedy. A riot. You know what? Let's start over. I don't know how many times we have to keep saying this. I don't know how many times the oppressed people of this country have to keep saying exactly why they feel the way they do. I don't get it. It doesn't make any damn sense. So I'm going to ask, how? How can we protest? How can we protest? How can black and brown and poor and trans and oppressed people, the minority in this country, how can we protest? Let's run down the list. Martin Luther King. Everybody loves bringing up Martin Luther King, who is now looked at as this civil rights icon, and everybody loves him some MLK. But people forget that 2 years before MLK was murdered, and he was murdered, ladies and gentlemen, he was one of the most hated men in America. They said he was uppity, and they said that he was stirring up problems, and that change is not going to happen the way he's doing it, by peacefully marching. He got dogs, water hoses, cops beating him, and then he was shot in the face and killed. So, peaceful, guess we can't do that. Colin Kaepernick, former quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, who saw what was going on with the deaths of Eric Gardner, Michael Brown, Sandra Bland, Freddie Gray, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, saw this and said, you know what? I can't stand for the national anthem, because it's an anthem of a country that is not taking care of all of its people. As it says in the Constitution, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. He sits down at first. Then, after talking to a Green Beret who was also in the NFL, decided to take a knee. And he was a son of a bitch. Remember that? Called that by our leader. He was a son of a bitch. And Colin Kaepernick, to this day, is no longer playing in the NFL. So, guess kneeling doesn't work. Oh, I know. Remember when the NBA players wore "I Can't Breathe" t-shirts, which was the very last words of Eric Gardner? Remember that? When 7 cops jumped on top of him and put on an illegal chokehold and killed him? And his last words were, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe." So, basketball players like LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and Steph Curry, they wore these t-shirts that said, "I can't breathe." But they were told to just shut up and dribble. That they should be happy to be in a country where they're making so much money for playing basketball. Wow. So I guess wearing "I Can't Breathe" t-shirts isn't it either. Ooh, I know. When all the black actors and actresses and people of color won awards, and they would stand up there and make speeches about the hypocrisy of a country that believes in these constitutional rights, but people in the streets were getting murdered, and they used their platform when they were winning these awards, and they talked about it. Yeah, Ricky Gervais made a whole big deal about it, and everybody just laughed at him because libs being libs. Even though These people were being awarded for their hard work, and they used their platform to talk about injustices, but they were wrong. They were told to shut up. Hollywood values. So I guess using your platform during an award ceremony, we can't do that either. All you people that are talking about how this is becoming a racial issue and how Black Lives Matter is the same as the KKK, that's what that alt-right Barbie Tommy Lahren said. Do any of you remember who Daniel Shavers is? You don't remember Daniel Shavers? Daniel Shavers was a white kid, white man with a family, was killed by 2 police officers who were giving him conflicting orders. And all he wanted is, please don't shoot me. Please don't shoot me. And they killed him on video. Got away with it. There was a 17-year-old young Caucasian male who was arrested on a sting for buying a joint, and the cop shot into the car and killed him over a joint. And the cop said that he was backing up, even though ballistics showed that the kid was going forward and not anywhere near the cop in the back. So how do we protest? How does America want the oppressed people, the minority, to speak? How? Explain that to people who have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. And it's funny, the other part that I find so amusing about this whole situation is now you have these, you have the Graham Allens of the world who said we should listen to the family. And Floyd wouldn't want this. George Floyd wouldn't want this. The family said so. And Martin Luther King wouldn't want this. This isn't how you do it. But Martin Luther King isn't here to speak for himself, because the same violence that he didn't want to get involved in took him out. We don't know what George Floyd would have wanted or not wanted because he's dead. And people keep trying to make it racial. My family keeps trying to make it racial. So let me make sure I say this. Friend or family does not matter. If you do not stand for something, you've already stood for something. Let me explain that. When the couple of weeks back, when the armed protesters were going into the Michigan governor's office trying to get the economy back open and get their back to jobs and haircuts and barber shops and things of that nature, armed to the teeth, tactical gear down. When that was going on, silence. And that was for selfish reasons. It's a protest. Still covered, but it was for selfish reasons. But time after time after time after time after time, the minority in this country keeps trying to get the attention of the majority. And we've literally just discussed there are several different ways that we tried to do it. And every single time, we were told that's not the right way. And since America doesn't seem to know whether or not or how we should get the attention of the power in this country, our politicians, our leaders, government officials who we pay with our tax dollars, who do not address our problems. Since we've established that nobody's going to listen until something catches on fire, then we have your attention. Now, I We'll never say we should riot, burn it down. But I'll ask you this. How should we? How should we, as a group, collectively, how should we address this? There are white people right now that don't even want to have the conversation about racism right now because it makes it uncomfortable. You have Amy Cooper doing exactly what was done to Emmett Till. Still. The only difference was she was filmed. So we're still rehashing the same problem. And this isn't a conspiracy theory. This isn't me spouting some things that I don't know that I might have found on a QAnon website. No, this is facts. From Rodney King and earlier to George Floyd today, the minority, the oppressed people of this country have been trying to get the attention of the people in power. And the first thing was happening is, well, we made it racial. They made it racial. Do you know who it was who said that man, Daniel Shaver's name more than anybody? Black Lives Matter. You know who it was who spoke that young 17-year-old man's name, kid's name, after he was gunned down? Black Lives Matter. Because it was never about race. That's where the whole all lives matter shit didn't make any sense in the first damn place. So, how do we address it? Why don't we talk about it? Why does it make you uncomfortable? Why does it have to be that I'm pro-black or this person's pro-white? We have a problem with law enforcement and how they are taught. We have what is called a blue wall of silence, which should not exist, which basically means this cop over here can do whatever the hell he wants and the other cops say nothing. That's why it's called the blue wall of silence. Shouldn't exist. So how do we address it? Somebody come with an idea. Let's have that conversation. The conversation you don't want to have, but let's have it anyway. Don't come with emotions. The number one reason the gun debate is such a problematic thing is because people do not come in with facts on either side. They come in with emotions. But when you watch a man get choked to death, a knee on his neck for almost 10 minutes, and you know that there's a good possibility that that cop that did that is going to get away with it, how would you address it? How? How do you want to have that debate? Because whether you want to understand it or not, whether you want to even believe it or not, that debate's going to happen. It's going to happen. So it's time to get out of your bunkers. It's time to get out of your feelings and come with facts. Understand, black on black crime is a boogeyman word, just like the word Chicago is. Because white folks kill white folks, Italians kill Italians, Asians kill Asians, Mexicans kill Mexicans. Black on black crime is crime. White on white crime is crime. Hispanic on Hispanic crime is crime. There is no difference. People kill and rob and mug and hurt who are they are close to. Crime is crime. So don't come here with that. Don't. So you tell me, how do we address it? Because again, it's gonna happen. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible make armed revolution inevitable. Or no, excuse me, violent revolution inevitable. John F. Kennedy said that. Because you cannot have a country and you cannot have a system to where the rights for some are protected, the rights for others are not. You cannot have a system that allows for protest for a haircut, but not a protest or a riot for injustice. People riot because their teams win. People riot because their team lost. The students of Penn State rioted because Joe Paterno got removed because he covered for a pedophile. So here's your chance. I'm open. I'm ready. Bring it. I am willing to stand on what I know with 48 years of experience, 48 years of life. I am willing to debate with anyone about the merits of what we have going on today. There are protesters out there right now making sure that the protests are not violent. Do you see that one? Nope. But you hear about, oh, he sprayed up a Starbucks, or he broke out the windows in an AutoZone. You don't see and hear about the protesters who want this thing to stay peaceful. And they're turning these people in. But you hear about looting. So how do we do it, America? How do we do it? How do we have this dialogue? How?